This episode is brought to you by the Lash Boss newsletter. If you would like to receive a monthly newsletter from me, written by me, not AI, never sponsored, no ads included, and no spam too. Like it's really just once a month that I send something out. It includes upcoming lash events, lash tips and trends, artists to watch, ones that are up and coming and that I have been finding valuable, and even books that I'm reading at the moment that are helping me run my business. Then subscribe to Lash Boss newsletter. Like I said, I send it out only once monthly, and it's packed with a ton of information that any lash artist would find valuable. You can subscribe at the link in the show notes or on my Instagram or on lashbossradio.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lash Boss Radio. I'm Shelby, your host, and today I'm joined by Hamil. She is the creator of Lash Bash. She is also a salon owner in Friendswood, Texas. I have had her on the show before. We're going to be talking a lot about Lash Bash and how to collaborate with other people in your community and so much more. Welcome back to the show, Mo.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Feels like home.
I know. I think this is is it your third time or second time?
I think it's third.
It's crazy. For those who haven't heard a previous episode of us, what is Lash Bash and what parts of the country is Lash Bash in?
So Lash Bash is an exclusive party for lash artists, but we are kind of branching out now where nails techs come, brow artists come, because everybody seems to be dabbling in lashes. So it's kind of branching out and expanding, which I'm rethinking of like, do I need to expand it into more beauty services and more beauty service providers is where I'm at right now. Like, do I need to pivot? It is the party to come and network and meet your local community. As you and I know, both starting out, when we started out, there wasn't a community whatsoever. And now there is an online community, especially after COVID, but it's like time to get out of your shell and go out and meet people in your community, as well as you can meet like our special guests who are big in the industry, your lash idol, or people like that, which makes it even funner or more fun, should I say. um, and luckily, crazy enough, I thought this would just be a United States. I'd keep it in the States and do it. And last year, I went to 2 other countries, which I had no idea that that was going to happen. So I was lucky to go to London, which I'm totally down to go back. I have now fallen in love with London. I know what you're talking about now. When you had told me, I love London, you have to go. Like, yes, I would totally go back to London. And then I did Canada last year as well. And that was even cool because I had never been to Canada. I got to experience like people were so friendly out there. That's the cool thing about this is it's taking me to all these different places and I get to meet people and see the culture and as well as like connect with those lash artists and see what they're lacking or what they have that we don't have. Or, I get to have those connections and those conversations of like, well, in the States, we're doing this. What are y'all doing out here? So it's really neat just to meet all these people from all over.
It's also cool because the brands in those areas sometimes really come out and like getting to try local brands or brands that you haven't seen before because you do have swag bags. And those are a big perk of going to something like this. Usually the events are like just a couple hours long and it's just a social event. It's really just a time for mingling and talking, which is nice because usually we all get together at like an educational event, which is not, also great. But this is like just for networking, which is, I think, equally as important.
Yes, for sure. And I feel like, I love the conferences and all that stuff, but I feel like when I'm at a conference, my thinking hat is on and I'm focused on how much information can I take in? Let me focus on this instead of, not that I'm not making connections and making that a priority, but I put my thinking hat on first where I'm like, focus. I want to get every ounce of information that I've ever gotten here while I'm here. You pay for a ticket. Most people spend money, they fly in, they drive in, whatever, they pay for a hotel. So I'm in that same mindset of, I want to take this information in, absorb it, and take it home with me. At a Lash Bash, it is just fun. It's everybody coming together. It's just like a big support session, I feel like, because we get to talk with people who are in our shoes and know what we go through daily.
It's a lot of connection, and
Mhm.
it's nice to talk to people in your industry. It's very different. You find like the first time you go to something in your industry, you're like, oh, there's conversations like
Is
this
it?
that are happening, because when I'm talking with family or friends, it's just not the same amount of fulfillment when you're getting to talk about work, because you have to explain like a backstory, or they may not understand fully what you're talking about or who you're talking about, or something. And so it's nice. What places are you planning on going this year?
So this year we have the San Antonio Lash Bash first, and I'll be doing that one with you and Jen Pope. And then we have Atlanta in April, Denver, Colorado in June, and then Long Beach in September.
Oh my
And a
gosh.
few more might get added in there.
What
I'm talking
locations
with other people.
What locations are you wanting to go to, that maybe someone listening, like if they want to collab with you or something and co-host one with you, like what areas of the world would you like to see Lash Bash?
Okay, don't laugh, but I'm ready to go everywhere. Like, my goal one day is to have every state checked off. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's my goal. A big dream is to go to Australia.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've already been in talks with a few brands out there, but that may be down the road. But I do want to do one in Australia. So really, like, I'm game. I I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm like, I'm ready to travel and I'm ready to go to every single state and meet every single lash artist and just go. Like, I know next year I want to do Florida. I think we're going to do Oklahoma. Like, I'm already talking about next year. Like, I'm
Wow.
already in talks with people for 2025 because now I have to plan out years in advance.
I am too. Like for Lash Boss Summit, I get it. I already like know who the lineup is in 2025, which is wild. So let's say an artist or a brand wants to collab with you. Like what different ways can they do that?
So, great ways, honestly, just reach out to me. Like, people slide into my DMs all the time and they're like, hey, like, I literally had somebody from Germany reach out to me and she was like, please come to Germany. And a lot of people don't know this, but I was born in Germany. So of course I'm like, I could go to Germany. Yes, I make a trip out of it and throw a lash bash, explore my heritage out there. So um yeah, just I'm so open and I feel like I'm so laid back. Like I feel like I'm very approachable. So I always tell people, don't hesitate to message me. Don't hesitate to put, something in my ear like, hey, we need you out here, or hey, there's a group out here. Brands have reached out to me in wanting to collaborate. So that's a really cool thing. So that's how the co-hosting kind of goes is I collaborate with a brand and in that the brands get kind of like exclusivity on brand recognition because they're part of the event.
Right.
They are the people who, they sell products. I don't sell products. So if we can create a partnership where we bring to the table what we both have, it ends up working out where we both feed off of each other. And what's been cool about it is every lash bash is different. There are no two lash bashes that have been the same as of yet. And there's been 12 of them. It's cool because whoever I collaborate always brings something different to the table as well. And I'm very easy and open to hear, like, hey, is there anything you want to bring to the table at this event? Is there anything you want to specifically shout out or talk about? And so that in 2024, my goal is to hopefully like get my co-host maybe doing a little speech at the event, maybe just, 5-minute speech like, hey guys, this is who I am, da 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 da. And then maybe also getting our special guests to do a little speech and talk to them. Nothing elaborate, just so everybody gets to see who they are and connect with them. Because sometimes people come and they have no idea, like, oh my gosh, this is that big person who owns that brand. They have no clue. And so maybe just the person speaking or whoever that is can do a little speech introducing themselves, what they do, like I want you to talk about Lash Boss Summit, of course. So we'll do things like that to also show you guys off.
So, do a lot of them, a lot of the brands that you co host with, do a lot of them start off by like donating to the swag bags? Because I know the swag bags are kind of like a really big feature of Lash Bash. Can you talk a little bit about swag bags? Because you also, in addition to swag bags, a lot of times raffle off something pretty significant. Like I've donated lots of tickets to Summit
Yes.
for the Lash Bash. So tell me about that aspect of it.
So it's funny because swag bags weren't even supposed to be a part of Lash Bash to begin with. It was just an afterthought. And brands had reached out to me going, "Hey, we want to be in your bags." And I was like, "Okay, so this is a thing." Well, then it took a whole other level, and attendees absolutely love the swag bags. Like, other than the connections they make, swag bags is like runner up to number one of what their favorite thing was because the bags have just been so good. And the brands that have been contributing and being a part of it have been so generous and so kind to give like great products. I get messages all the time from people going, "Oh my God, I found this product in the Austin swag bag. What's the name? Who's," like if they can't find a name on the product itself, or if it was a tweezer and there's no name on we'll go hunting and I'll be like, "Okay, that was from so and so." And then they'll go and order. So these brands are making those longtime customers as well. And then in co-hosting with me, they get to do that one-on-one talking with the customers and relationships with them and build those relationships and be like, "Yeah, I own this brand," and they trip. Like I've had people talking about, you know, "This tweezer is not working for me." And the brand's like, "Oh my gosh, we have this other tweezer." Little things like that help the brands out and making those connections while also helping the lash artists themselves. So a lot of the brands that I have collaborated with have been in the swag bags. I've created those relationships and I love, 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 love my sponsors. Like that's the other part for me is that I get to make those relationships with those brands
Mm-hmm.
and troubleshoot with them and be like, "Hey, what works for you? Let me help you. I'll share your post. I don't mind. I'm not a brand. I
Every
don't sell
brand
product."
that I've talked to knows who you are. They're all like, I love Mo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so, and I hope to, like, give them value as well, like, they're just as important as the attendees. Yes, it is about the attendees and networking, but it's also about my partnerships with these brands and these sponsors, and
Mm-hmm.
so those are just as important to me, and I know it's just as important to the attendees because they reap the benefits of trying new products or getting something from a product they love and just being like, "Oh my God, I've been wanting to try this, but finances have been tough." I've gotten those messages too. Like, "I've been wanting to try this brand for so long, but finances have been tough." And then they get them and they're like, "I'm in love." So yeah, the swag bags, like I said, they took off. I did not expect that. Um, and people just love them. People really, they go hard for these swag bags.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask, so you've done 12 at this point. I'm sure you've seen some success stories or, something that comes from two people meeting at Lash Bash. Do you have any that come to mind, like any favorite success stories that you can think of?
Yeah, I've seen, and I'm not gonna name names because obviously I probably don't remember half of it. Like, I see them and they tag me and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I've seen people become brand ambassadors with big brands that they've met at the events. I've seen them collaborate and have trainings together. I've seen trainings happening at Lash Artist Studios because they met them. Um, I've even seen people go to work with brands, like, more than brand ambassadors, like, they become part of their team now. What else have I seen? Trainings is a big one. A real favorite one of mine is, like, I wanna say up north, there was a group of girls who came to a Lash Bash. They all met at a Lash Bash, and now they meet monthly. And
Wow.
they do monthly meetups and just love and support each other. And I know that's not like a huge stepping stone for like, "Oh, I work for this company now." But for me, that was the whole core of Lash Bashes. So you can have your core network at home where you can rely on each other and troubleshoot with each other. So I've seen all kinds of connections being made. Like, of course, off the top of my head, I go blank right now, but the connections that happen afterwards are like when people tag me and they're like, "I'm heading to so and so's brand whatever warehouse because I met her at Lash Bash." Like, it's so neat to me to see these connections happening and how far they take you. Like, it's not as much as I keep saying it's all about that local connection, meeting those big people in your industry, you don't understand how much they can light a fire under you once you meet them and you're like, oh, they're just like me.
Hmm.
They're normal people and they actually want to support me too.
Right. For someone that hasn't been to a lash bash or even a lash event, do you have any advice for um, maybe that first time or how they should approach someone that they're inspired by, that they see, or how to connect with other people in their industry? Any advice about that?
Yes. Don't like my biggest thing is what is the worst that can happen? If you walk up to somebody, say you come to a Lash Bash, say you go to Lash Boss Summit and you see this idol that you've been wanting to meet and connect with. If you walk, I know it's scary to walk up to those big people, but if you walk up to them, they are never, ever, ever going to be like, ew, who are you? Ever, ever. Nobody, I have, in my own experience, I have never met a single person who's ever snubbed me that way when I first met them, who's ever, like, ew, no, they want to meet you. Like, I know people think, oh, well, she's busy. I don't want to interrupt. No,
Mm.
she wants to meet you. Like, I've had people at Lash Bash go, I don't want to walk up to Shelby. I'm so scared. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Shelby's the sweetest. Come on, let's go meet. Like I'm always down as well, like at a Lash Bash. And people have literally told me that. Like, I'm scared to go talk to them. And I'm like, come on, grab them by their arm. And I'm like,
Oh,
come meet
yeah.
them. It's so fulfilling. And if you don't come to an event, slide into their DMs and be like, just be your authentic self and be like, I've been following you. I love what you're doing. Like, let them know you're not just somebody out of nowhere going, hey, how are you? You got to build those relationships and coming to these lash events, whether it's a lash bash, a lash meetup, a lash social, a conference, Lash Boss Summit, that is your perfect way to meet those people. And I know in doing Lash Bash, I've learned that a lot of lash artists are actually introverts and they have social anxiety. It's totally fine. I promise. I used to be an introvert. I used to be super shy. When it's not the lash industry, I'm very quiet. But when I'm around my people, something changes and something happens. And it's like it just fulfills me, like the energy knowing that all these people get me.
Yep.
I can go up to a stranger in a Lash Bash and be like, hi, I'm Mo. Do you deal with clients who do this? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, yes. Like there's nothing off the table when you meet these people in the sense of them knowing what you know and you're in it together. So don't be afraid to walk up, to DM, to reach out to those big people. Like I promise when you reach out to them, it actually makes their day and it makes them feel special that you saw them.
I know you're going to Lash Boss Summit and LashCon. I know you have a lot of lash bashes planned this year. How do you plan your year, knowing that you want to prioritize going to these things? You're a business owner, you have a salon, and you're also a mom. So how do you make all of that work?
Uh, it's hard. It's really hard. I think the biggest thing that's been the hardest is my son. He, I think it was LashCon. It was between LashCon and Halloween Lash Bash, and he drew a picture, and I wasn't in it. It was the first family picture that I was not in. It was my husband, my parents, and him. And I was like, what, where's mommy? And he goes, just forgot about you. And it was a picture that he drew when I was out of town. And I was like, that was the biggest awakening thing because I traveled so much last year. And like part of doing this is so I can put him in school, so I can do these things for him. Part of owning a salon is so I can be at his events and be there for him. And um, when I asked him, I said, well, did you miss me? He was like, missed you when my stomach was hurting at school. And I kept saying, I want my mommy. I want my mommy. And then I remembered you're on vacation again. It's my heart broke. And I was like, mommy's not on vacation, baby. She's working, but he's 6. He doesn't understand what I'm doing. So I was trying to explain it to him. So that's been the hardest part for me is that. And then second, of course, is my salon, like being here for my girls, making sure they see my face, making sure they feel my support. So A lot of my friends know this. The salon, I carry the salon phone with me everywhere I go. The salon phone has gone to London with me. The salon phone has gone to Canada with me. Every Lash Bash, I have the salon phone, and I'm always taking care of stuff at home while I'm doing the Lash Bash. So it has been super hard and accommodating and balancing those two things. But then with Lash Bash, I get a hold of whoever I'm collaborating with, and I'm like, okay, like last year, it was 2023. And in October, I was already planning 2024. I had already actually started it before then, but I was putting things in motion like, okay, is this for sure? Is this for sure? Let's do this. And now it's January 24, and I'm already talking for 2025. So it's a balancing act. Like I'll reach out to you and be like, okay, when is Lash Boss Summit? So I'm not scheduling anything on that same weekend. Paul, when is LashCon? So I'm not scheduling, like I feel like, and you know this, because I feel like we all kind of reach out to each other going, okay, what are you doing in 2024? So we can make sure we're there to support each other, but also we don't cross paths on the same dates.
So, given that, how do you prioritize like which events you go to? Like ones that are not yours, for example, that you're having to go work? Like which one, like do you have like a way that you kind of decipher like I'll sit this one out or I'll go to this one type of thing?
Yeah. So I, of course, look at my at home schedule. Like if I know I have things for the salon going on or I have things with my child going on, I'll look at the schedule and be like, okay, I can't make that one. Like I was asked to be a speaker at a couple of events this year, and I had to sit those ones out. Like I prioritize if I am speaking, I make sure I can make those. And then also I make sure that it's like a weekend where I don't have a lot of things going on. Same thing for attendees. Most of them are with their clients Tuesday to Saturday. And usually coming to one of these events is a weekend thing. It's not a week long thing. Most of them usually are in that city that I'm in, or they'll fly in and make a little trip out of it. So it's nice to be able to pick and choose like where you want to go as well and who you want to meet. Maybe you like whoever's co hosting with me at a different event near your town or near your state. And then you can just make that trip easily.
Last year on February 19th, it was National Lash Day. We co-hosted something in Austin together. I felt like it went really well. There was like, how many lash artists came to that?
It was over like 75.
Yeah, I think that it was a really good
Good amount.
turnout. It was nice. I got to talk about like Lash Boss Summit. It was the first year of that being in person, and I felt like it was cool to get all of the Texas artists together and kind of share that. And also our swag bags were so full. I cannot believe you do that all the time. Like my arms had little cuts in them from the cardboard boxes, and it was never ending product in those things. Well, now we're bringing that same thing back this year, but this time in San Antonio, and it'll be February 18th because the 18th is a Sunday, but still for National Lash Day. So
Absolutely.
do you want to talk a little bit about the San Antonio Lash Bash coming up?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I grew up in Austin, so I'm really excited to like make all these close connections citywide in Texas. And there is such a big community in San Antonio. And I've had lash artists reach out to me and be like, we need this here. Like, we need a jump start. And so I'm excited to go out there and meet all these artists as well as connect them together and bring them together. And so it's really nice because I have you co hosting with me. And then we have Jen Pope co hosting with us. And so, yeah, she's so sweet. And I just feel like she's just an asset to the two of us. She's salon owner, she's a product owner, she's doing all of the things. And I think as big as San Antonio, I think it's still small in their lash artist community. So hopefully this will help bring them together and make it like a bigger thing where they can start meeting up locally. We're doing it at Elsewhere, which is this really cool venue that Shelby actually found.
No, Jen found it.
Jen found it? Oh, okay.
I think.
How do you describe it? It's on at the end of the Riverwalk, I think.
It's very Instagrammable. It's very cute.
Yes.
Girly.
Yes. Like there are places to take pictures everywhere in it. There's all these props, I feel like. There's swings at the bar. There's There's a slide.
It's very
Like, it's
aesthetic.
just fun.
Yeah.
Yes, very aesthetically pleasing. And Elsewhere has been super kind. Like, I know Shelby's talked to them. I've DM'd them a few times and they've been super kind. I think they're excited to have us too. Somebody just messaged me the other night. They were like, "Ooh, Elsewhere has really good drinks, just letting you know." And I was like, "That's awesome. I'm glad somebody's been there before and they like it too."
And I think the tickets are already like a third of the way gone. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
great. I know that
Tickets are selling
it's going
fast.
to be a good turnout. I know there are going to be like other cities in Texas that come out to support
Yes.
too. So I'm excited. I feel like I'm going to meet a lot of new people because I don't know many San Antonio artists. I know
Same.
like a handful. So I'm excited.
Same. Same. And it's really cool when people like see it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're coming to San Antonio. This is where I live. Yay, thank you. Finally." And I'm just excited for that. I'm like the feedback I've been getting from people is really cool. And then now I'm getting feedback of, "Hello, when are you coming to Dallas? Hello, when are you coming here?" And I'm like, "I'm working on it. I promise I'm working on it." Um, but these events are so accessible, is what I feel like with Lash Bash. They're so accessible. And then you have the conferences that are accessible too. Like, I love that you brought Lash Ball Summit to Texas. We've needed this for a really long time. And last year I feel like it went off with perfectly. So with Lash Boss Summit, it was really cool because it was a conference like no other. Like, there are these huge, big conferences that they're just so go, 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 go. But Lash Boss Summit, and I remember you even talking to me and being like, "I just want this to be chill and everybody to feel calm and relaxed here." And that was the takeaway from everybody I talked to. They were like, "This was the easiest conference to attend in sense of anxiety, social, things like that." People were nervous about that part, but it flowed so evenly and like it just was cool, calm, and collective is how I feel. Like, it makes me think of like Matthew McConaughey, where he's like, "All right, all right, all right," where everything was just perfect and went off without a hitch. There was so much information to take in. The setup was nice that people had tables to write, like take notes. And then afterwards, people could talk to anybody, like a speaker, things like that. People could easily go and talk to somebody they had been wanting to see, or maybe they had a question when they were on stage, but they were too scared to ask. I love that intimate part of it where people could go and talk to that speaker right after they spoke and be in the other room. And they're like, and I witnessed it. I witnessed scared lash artists going and talking to somebody who was just on stage because they didn't want to raise their hand and ask a question. It's very intimate. It's like Shelby. Like, I don't, it's just soft and put together and calm. You don't feel stressed whatsoever. You just feel really calm. You feel like you're able to absorb all the information because it's not chaotic.
Thank you for saying all of that. Oh my gosh. I think it's
Sure.
like I love like experiences, right? So when I think of this, it's almost like I love getting to see other events too because they are such a reflection of each person. Like I love to like I do have like I'm an introvert. I do get I psych myself out a lot. I don't want to like label myself, I guess, like, but I understand feelings of anxiety very hardcore. And I feel like I still enjoy like those events that are like high energy and like I'm going, like, I love this experience of putting myself in that atmosphere and like, I love that too. But when it came to like planning my own, it's like I can't put on an event like that, I think, because I am not that way. Even though like sometimes I wish I was, but it was nice that it was still received so well that it was like it's okay for it to feel like more chill or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's cool because like each different thing, like Lash Bash has a culture, right? Like Lash Boss Summit has a certain feel, culture, and then like LashCon, for example, that's like my favorite thing that I do every year is LashCon because it's like all of the things in one. And I also think
Yeah.
that like LashCon does a good job of like looking out for the people that I don't know if you noticed, like this
Absolutely.
past year, they did, like, they had a room for people that didn't want to do like a big crazy party. Like some people love that. I was having so much fun on the dance floor, but there's some people that didn't want to do that. So they were like, okay, well, let's do a movie night with those people. Let's have a room just for like
Yes.
relaxation. And I'm like, I love that people think about those things when they do events like that. And they're just on a whole nother level as an event. So highly recommend LashCon, highly recommend Lash Bash. I
Absolutely.
try to go to like every single Lash Bash I can. And I've been to LashCon every single year, but I also love Lash Boss Summit, now being its own little category of event. And
Yes.
so, yeah.
Again, it's a whole feel thing. It's a whole vibe thing. Like that's what it brings. They all bring their own unique vibe and their own unique system. And some people thrive better in yours. Some people thrive better in mine. Some people thrive better in LashCon. There's something for everyone. And until you go out and try and put yourself out there and experience it, you don't know what you like best. And so it's really cool how we get to create these events for people to come learn, for people to come make friends, for people to just let loose. It's like, I love that our industry is doing all this now.
Mm-hmm. And they know, like, okay, when I go to Lash Bash, I know this is my, like you were saying earlier, this is my like connection hat. Like I'm not about to like have to sit here and learn and listen to presentations. When I go to Lash Boss Summit, I know I'm going to learn a lot and like connect a lot. When I go to LashCon, I'm going to learn, connect, and have a ton of fun. Sometimes too much fun.
Everything in one.
But like it's just cool. You kind of start to know like what you're signing up for with each different event throughout the year. I personally try to go to every Lash event that I can. My son goes with his dad every other weekend because we're not together anymore. So I feel like a lot of times those events line up with the times that he's with his dad. So that's cool. But
and where you're supposed to be, like, it's like, okay, it was meant to be. I can make this work, so I can go here now.
Exactly. I actually thought that would be a good idea for like events to try to be on like the first, third, or fifth weekend of a month, because that's a lot of times when like moms are co-parenting and the kids are with the dad on the first, third, and fifth weekends, typically in a custody order, So
yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
See, look at how your thinking cap works. You're like, yep, I know this one. We should do it on these days.
Yeah, exactly. So if somebody is interested in going to a Lash Bash, whether it's San Antonio or a future one this year, where can they learn more about that?
So I have everything listed on Instagram, of course, because that's where most people follow me. And then everything is listed on my website too, which is lashbashofficial.com. But the most updates I feel like I do on social media, because that's where most people find me and interact and DM me and message me. So I feel like social media is the best one right now, because that's where we meet our online Lash besties. So definitely Lash Bash Official on Instagram, and then also the website.
I also have a newsletter where I also mention like all of the Lash Bashes that come up, and I also other events too. Like I always bring up other events that I'm not even connected with, but I'm just like, here, Lash artists, here are the events coming up this year.
I love that you do that. And then I even saw that there was another brand that was doing that too, like sending it out to their email list going, hey, here are events that we know of the year. Here are events we'll be at of the year. Mm-hmm. So I know that helps Lash artists too, because some aren't very active on social media. Like I know my salon girls aren't active on social media at all. So they'll be like, who is this? And what was this?
Or they'll say, I missed it. It already happened. I missed it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. I've had that. I got text messages from Austin people going, when was the Austin one? And I'm like, it's last year.
Dang it. Yeah. Well, if you are wanting to, subscribe to the newsletter, you can do so on lashbossradio.com. And then also just follow Mo, Lash Bash Official, on Instagram, and you'll kind of get updates all the time about those.
Yeah. And I have you can sign up for our emails too, where I send out updates as well. And that's on the website as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again. I've always loved having you on. Yeah, thank you for
For
everything.
having me. I love being here.
Me too.